explain this to the blind. May you wake up from inside, see the truth through the third eye. Let your heart be your guide, light up the way. Let your heart be your guide. Free from your pain, it ain't a mistake, cause you choose your fate.
Hi guys, I hope you're having an amazing, beautiful, positive day. I'm sending you so much love and so much peaceful, balanced energy. Welcome guys. If you're new here, my name is Misha, and here we talk about feelings, understanding your feelings, mastering your feelings to be the best version of yourself. And I also touch on topics that I feel are necessary to talk about. Today's conversation, I believe it's one of the most important conversations that we need to be having these days. And it's about protecting the children, protecting the youth, and really just having an understanding as to what they're up against right now. And I'm going to share a little bit about my story, being a child that was exposed to very early, and kind of those negative effects that it's had on my life, and the dangers that has on a child's mind, and what can potentially be, very, very damaging to the life of that child by just being exposed to these things early on. And, I couldn't stay quiet about this any longer. It's interesting where we are, the times that we're in right now. And things have gotten so loud. Let me just say loud, because you can't really ignore them. And for the people that are existing in the noise, they can't see because that's where they reside, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean, they're so programmed to this normalness, this normality of the over-sexualization of how things are these days that, they partake in it themselves, and I get this because I myself was plugged into that reality, and, I danced in nightclubs. I was out in nightclubs and drinking, partying, doing all that, listening to the music that mainstream plays, and things have just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And I want you to understand how the influence that these industries, these music industries, these movies, television shows just have kind of what they put on the youth and the children, as it's become so normal for them that this is how they're experiencing their life, through what they're being influenced. And then how are you expecting them to live a healthy, normal childhood with these things? And, I was on the subway the other day, and, they have the pictures on the subway, the advertisements on the subway. And I'm sitting down, I look up, and it's two girls making out, and it says Sex Museum. It's in New York. It's a museum, world famous museum. But to have this in such a public place, and just to see it and it be so open and so normal, everyone's just going about their everyday life, you don't really realize the type of damage that would have on a child, because children are so influenced, right? They're curious, and children are a lot smarter than people give them credit for. When I was young growing up, my idols were like Britney Spears and the Spice Girls, and we didn't have makeup. We didn't, I used to rotate the same sweatpants, suits every day for school, and the most that we would do would be dye our hair, have a crazy hair color or something, but we didn't use makeup. We didn't have social media back then growing up. And just to see how things have changed so dramatically and drastically, and what these children are up against from what I experienced in my childhood, I'm able to see how these things can be really damaging. When I was about 8, 9, I was exposed to pornography at a friend's house. Her father was a guy who was always at the strip club, and I'm not shaming him or anyone for this lifestyle. I'm just putting into perspective that was her normal, that she was around that. And so she was exposed to that. So then I, having a sleepover at her house, was then exposed to those things when I was 8, 9. And let me tell you that I will be a mother one day. And I'm not going to let my children go for sleepovers to anyone's house. The sleepovers will be at my house. I will not let my children go to sleepovers at other kids' house just because of this experience that I've had myself. Now, what people don't understand is that children seeing these and being exposed to these type of things, as a child, you feel this in your body. It's very confusing. It's very, very confusing for a child. And so knowing this, it opens a door for so many possibilities of just sabotage for a child. And so I really need people to understand that that's what early exposures will do. This is in my mind a memory that I have that really puts into perspective the timeline shift that we've had into this new reality where this is so normal to see girls walking around half naked. Again, I'm not shaming because I myself have been somebody that's been walking around very provocatively, but until I woke up to my potential in this world, until I woke up to my power and my love of self, I was just as lost as everybody else. And so this is a very vivid memory that I have of Jennifer Lopez going to an award show. I remember this very clearly. She wore this green dress to the award shows that was so low cut. It was like from here to like below her belly button. And I remember the controversy around that dress. I remember the conversation. I remember the gasps. I remember moms and aunties and even fathers and people just putting up such a commotion about this dress. Like she was just doing something so provocative, right? And the times that we live in now, you have these celebrities going to these award shows pretty much naked. And you can see from that time, this is part of our lifetime. We're seeing it unfold in front of our eyes. And these kids, this is a new normal that they're stepping into. And so I'm only giving these messages to help parents understand the severity of what these kids are up against. I was at a birthday party the other day for a 10-year-old, and they're playing Sexy Red. They're playing all those trap songs, Booty Shakin', Coochie, whatever, all these like songs talking about sex and Pound Town at this 10-year-old's birthday party.
Heart-wrenching. It's horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yee. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them Princess Tiana ballet music.
And this is what I mean by the parents are existing in the noise themselves. They don't even see what that could be doing for a child. Like when I was 10, we didn't have this. So to see this now and to be like, well, what was I like at 10? When I was 10, I remember dressing up as Brandy and going to my friend's like celebrity. She had this little like celebrity party where everybody dresses up as their favorite celebrity. And I remember I dressed up as Brandy. Don't worry, there was no blackface involved. I put on a little jazz shirt, cute little shirt, and I put this hat on and I was Brandy. I just became Brandy because back then, without all this social media and, Facebook and magazines and MTV and all these television shows, these movies, Euphoria, the television shows that are influencing the mind of the children, we used our imaginations. And these kids are growing up being poisoned of their imagination. Poisoned. It's being taken away from them. There's nothing left to the imagination for these kids these days. They're having to grow up so fast. And I know this because I myself, again, was a child that was exposed to these things way too early. And when you're exposed to things early like this, you are a curious child. You have to understand that. You're a curious child. You're a hypersexual child because you have this feeling you've been exposed to that confusing to the body, right? You know, the influence of artists. You got to ask yourself the questions. Why? Like, is this on purpose? Could it potentially be for the sabotage of the next generation? I have my own conclusions on this, but, you know, I'm only trying to spread awareness on the topic because I see things have gotten really bad. The fact that we can go onto the subway in a public space and there's two girls making out. The next photo is these guys wearing bondage making out, and it's the sex museum. And I'm supposed to just exist in this, and seeing all these kids on the subway on their way to school and not say anything about it, not be like completely, I'm feeling so many feelings about it, you know? But what can we do? Because it's so normal now. This is the normal. And it's not normal. You know, the music that we used to listen to as kids growing up, the Backstreet Boys, Aaliyah. Aaliyah even dressed provocatively back then with her crop tops and her low jeans, right? That was sexy back then. Now we're seeing you're just nude, and that's how we're being influenced in, you know, today's idea of celebrities. So I'm in school right now to be a rapid transformational therapist, and in my course we learn about the subconscious mind, and it's stuff that I've been studying for years. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very, very excited to be a rapid transformational therapist. And one of the things that we learn is about, you know, the impressions on the mind of the ages between 0 and about 7-8 years old. And you know, it's stuff that I know already. And so when I share these messages about the importance of those years forming the beliefs that we hold that carry out with us for the rest of our lives until we decide to change them. If they're good or bad beliefs, you know, we have the power to change them, but they install in our subconscious mind, they install in our brain. And then through that installation between those ages, 0 to about 7-8, we then see the world through those eyes, through those beliefs. We then receive the world through those beliefs. And this is very powerful, because if you knew that, then you would be very, very particular with what you focused your energy on, what you listened to, the music you listened to, the television shows that you watched, and especially in those early childhood years, because those influences are then going to stick in your brain, like you're downloading a software into the brain. And so I bring this up because this topic is so important to understand how much out there is against the innocence of a child, because it's just become so normal, and society has just accepted it as normal, you know, to even talk about these things and bring them up in conversation as something that we feel uncomfortable with, and that we want, you know, justice for the children that are, I want justice for my children that I'm going to have one day, the kids that I want to bring into the world. You know, I want to protect them from what exists out there as normal. I don't see it as normal. And I think we need to talk about it, because it is concerning to know that between the ages of 0 and 7-8, my child's brain will be programmed. And if they're exposed to what we see as normal these days, what kind of effects it could have on their life. And so if we knew this, if parents knew this, they wouldn't be taking away the innocence of their child's childhood. They would be very mindful of the effects that it has, the long-term effects that it has on the child. You can't ignore that there's an attack on childhood innocence. And this is how they do it, is they take these artists, take an Ariana Grande who grew up in, you know, Disney, right? So she already has her little fan base of kids, you know, because Disney will always put out those shows. You have all these kids seeing her as a child star. Then they start putting her in really provocative outfits, wearing the bunny ears and promoting Playboy, right? And then you have her an amazing, incredible artist with music that's just, you're just like, oh my God, she's the best singer ever, and I'm a fan. And the music gets sexier and sexier and sexier. What do those kids do? They want to be like Ariana Grande. You have your artists like Lil Nas. His first song, Old Town Rodeo, super innocent song, incredible song. You got hooked. They hook them in. All these little boys, all these little girls, they want to be Old Town Rodeo. And then now he's a gay man dressing in stripper heels and dancing with the devil. Now all these little boys are confused because they love Lil Nas, and maybe they're not gay, but they want to be Lil Nas. So they want to dress a little more feminine now because they're seeing their idol dressing a little more feminine. It's confusing to the kids, right? Again, we have to understand the influence that things have on the mind, and the mind is so impressionable on children. Now, if you could look back on your life, I'm 34 years young, but when I look back on my 8-year-old self again, I always kind of go back to this age 8. Like, what was I doing at 8? I was playing around outside. I was running around outside. I was jumping on the trampoline. I was playing sports and very innocent life until the introduction to social media. And once the computer and what was it? iMessenger, was it iMessenger? No. MSN, once MSN and then Facebook, and things progressively got more online and more, we're exposed to more. That was when things really changed for me. But nowadays, kids just walk into it. This is a normal part of their life, but there is nothing normal about this. This is, again, a part of my message. And, not everybody's going to agree with me on this stuff, and that's fine. I just know I'm here to share my messages of truth. And if you have kids, or if you want to have kids, or if you have, you have family members that have kids, how do we protect them from these things? You have to be so present as a parent in your child's life, in that you are protecting them from these things. You are openly communicating with them about these things, right? That was one thing that was missing in my family. It doesn't matter if you're from a loving family. It does not matter, because you can still feel love from your parents, yet not feel them present in your life to a point where you have secrets. You can be a child with secrets. The internet creates this alter life that you can experience online, and you can have a whole secret life away from your parents. And that's what I had as a child. I was friends with not the right crowd of people. My parents wouldn't have had any idea, because I was good at keeping it quiet. And that's the other thing is my parents didn't grow up with the internet, so they didn't have any idea how to protect me from these things. But nowadays, we have to be openly communicating with our kids about everything. When I talk about the music, it's not just the lyrics that are damaging to the child. If you study frequencies and you understand that there is different frequencies that are damaging, there's some that are damaging to the consciousness, right? To the mind. They damage the cells. And there's other frequencies that are healing frequencies. You can go on YouTube and type in meditation music. There's certain frequencies that are healing to the body, healing to the cells, healing to the mind. And all these songs out there that are promoting a promiscuous life, they're promoting sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They're promoting these things to potentially sabotage somebody's life, not make their life better. Those are more likely in a negative frequency. And so just by listening to that, it's invoking these negative emotions in the body: sadness, anger, frustration, anxiety. Most of the hit songs these days, they're in a negative frequency, and there's a reason why. There is a reason why. They play this music because they want the little boys to walk around feeling hard and do drugs and have guns. There's a reason why, right? There's a reason why they promote this type of music. There's a reason why the girls' music is super hypersexualized and very provocative. And there's no reason for a kid to be talking about coochie or sex or anything, right? But we see it. I see it in front of my eyes. My eyes are awake. My third eye is open. I see it. So I'm here to spread this awareness, because I think it's important for our future. It's important because these children are our future. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to bring this conversation to light because I see this as an attack on childhood innocence. And if I could go back on my life and erase things that happened, it would be that I was exposed to at a very early age, and it's unacceptable. And I think that every kid out there deserves to just be a child. They deserve to just live in their imagination and that protected and warm and loving and fun and colorful space that they, can experience as a child. They deserve that. And I know that space, it gets tampered with once they're exposed to these things. It gets destroyed. It brings in an insidious confusion to a child of things that exist in the world that they're too early to be exposed to. And so I hope that this message found you well, guys. Please protect your loved ones, protect the kids, protect the children, and just know that you could be that one person that helps guide a child in the right direction in their life and protects them from, the world out there that's here to just take them away from their innocence. If you guys are interested in a one-on-one session with me, you can email me booking@feelswithmeesh.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, guys. For weekly content, I also have a podcast where I share weekly messages. I'm getting back on the weekly, guys. I'm dedicated to myself, so we're doing weekly messages. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing, beautiful, positive day because you absolutely deserve it.
Try and explain it to the blind. May you wake up from inside. See the truth through the third eye. Let your heart be your guide. Light up the way. Let your heart be your guide. Free from your pain, it ain't a mistake, 'cause you choose your